Oorim Toomim and Eliza Jezelle by John W. Lavender. Chapter 3. The Bash of the Titans. Arriving on the slopes of Mount Olympus, Oorim Toomim and Eliza Jezelle dismounted their fiery steeds. It was still night. They could see the Titan temple in a crevasse peeking out from above the clouds. Light shot down between the marble pillars, and music of the spheres wafted through the cold mountain air. Realizing that it must have been the Bash cosmic computer language, with its open access to the cosmic hub, that had brought them there, they had no intention of engaging with the Titans, their reputation having preceded them. The valley was dark, without a glimmer of light. The wind picked up, and it began to rain as they descended the rocky path. "We need shelter," said Eliza to Oorim. Her cry was one of desperation. Fortunately, they found shelter under a rocky ledge. The wind and rain lashed them brutally, and so they moved deeper along the ledge until they came to a cave. The ground was slimy, and the rocks were cold under their bare feet. Inside the cave, they found dry grass in a pile and huddled together to keep warm. "This is cozy," said Oorim. "Keep your hands to yourself," scolded Eliza. Having connected to the all at the Great Zigguat, they had not expected to arrive at the abode of the Titans, which meant they were still on planet Earth. With that fact becoming clearer, they drifted off to the land of Delphi. Delphi being an object-oriented language that organized around objects rather than actions, and data rather than logic. It was, however, their dreams that Zeus, the king of Titans, sensed their presence and tried to exert influence over them. But it was Morpheus who had dominion over dream objects, and it was he who guarded their safe passage as they journeyed into the land of dreams. Eliza dreamt that they were still flying on their fiery steeds, dismounting at the steps of the Titan's temple. A bash was in full swing. Aphrodite had just come out for some air and found Eliza standing outside, shivering with cold. "Come in, my dear," said Aphrodite. "Let me find you something dry to wear." Eliza unexpectedly felt tickling all over her body and found she was covered with feathers. Brushing the tickling under her nose, she discovered she had also acquired a sharp beak. Then, looking downward at her feet, she could not help but notice she had feathered ankles and claws protruding from the ends of her toes. "Who is it, babe?" said a bass-toned voice from inside the temple. "Just a she-owl," said Aphrodite. "Now shoo," she said, threatening to Eliza. "Don't send her away. Invite her in. We can have a party." "It's okay, darling. She's just leaving." With that, Aphrodite gave Eliza a push with her foot, whereupon Eliza flew up into a laurel tree, where she watched and occasionally hooted her disapproval. Zeus entered the room while Aphrodite was dancing in front of a mirror. She had mesmerized herself, swaying her hips and waving her arms. Zeus was unmoved by her display and rolled his eyes with disdain. "I have a most wonderful gift for Epimetheus," said Zeus. "I'm going to give it to him as a wedding present." "What a wonderful box. Did you say it was a gift for me?" said Aphrodite. No, it's for Epimetheus to present to Pandora on their wedding day. Can't I see it? You can see, but you can't touch. It's full of all the nasty things I could imagine. Once I give the box to Epimetheus, I don't have to worry about human beings anymore. All the time it's unopened, everything will be fine. But you know what happened to the cat's curiosity. Can't I have a peek? No, you can't. Just an itsy-bitsy peek. Control yourself. Zeus and Aphrodite retired to another room, leaving the box for Pandora on a table. Meanwhile, Eliza, who had been watching everything from the laurel tree, flew into the room and stole the box, carrying it away in her claws. Then Eliza dreamed she was sitting in a nest surrounded by feathers. She nestled down, making a contented hoot before closing her eyes. Oorim's dream was different, but in some ways the same. After they had dismounted their fiery steeds at the steps of the temple, he overheard two titans talking on the balcony. Prometheus and his brother Epimetheus were having an intense conversation. Oorim hid behind a pillar and listened. I have given humans everything I know will help them live happily on this planet, said Epimetheus. If there is anything else you can do for them, I'll be in your debt. They can never really succeed in this hostile environment without fire, said Prometheus. As partners, men and women have achieved great things. However, Zeus is determined that will never happen. He will not give them anything that might make them immortal. That's a bit hypocritical, don't you think? Do and be done by. It's not the same as the golden rule. So how do we fix it? It's a dangerous business. The problem with being immortal is just that being immortal. Punishment lasts forever. But if there was a higher way that accepts punishment for the sake of others, said Epimetheus. Love, said Prometheus. Love, yes, but not passion. By the way, brother, don't ever accept gifts from Zeus. He will make you pay for it in the end, 7 times over. Is that the same for humans? If a titan gives a gift to humans, is it ultimately cursed? It's a divine dilemma, remarked Prometheus. How can we ever know? If we give a gift, we are cursed. If we refuse a gift, we are likewise cursed. At that point in the conversation, Oorim burst out, What about the cosmic computer? Who said that? Said Prometheus. I did, announced Oorim, stepping out from behind the pillar. And who are you? Asked Epimetheus. Then began Oorim's long soliloquy about existing before earth and sea and heaven were created and all was chaos. Before the demiurge put an end to discord, separating earth from sea and heaven, before fire and ether formed, before air rose and earth sank, and water held up the earth in the primordial soup, before rivers and fjords were put in their places and mountains raised and valleys scored out, before the distribution of woods, fountains, fertile fields, and stony plains, before the air was clear and stars began to appear in the sky, before fishes took possession of the sea, and birds the air, and four-footed beasts the land. Excuse me, friend, I have to stop you there, said Prometheus. I don't know who you are or who this demiurge might be, but it was I who made humans out of earth and breathed life into their nostrils. It was I who gave them an upright stature, so that while all the animals turned their faces downward and looked at the earth, humans raised their eyes to heaven and gazed on the stars. Neither do I know anything about this cosmic computer, or whatever name you call it. Oh, said Oorim, disappointed but continued, existing before all seed forms. Yes, we've heard that. What is the cosmic computer? Not a cosmic computer, said Oorim. The cosmic computer. So what does it do? Asked Epimetheus. It can calculate all combinations of all possible dilemmas known to God and humans. And how long does that take? Asked Prometheus. Well, that's the problem. It could take an infinitesimal amount of time, or depending on the intimacy of the dilemma, a relatively infinite amount. I don't have time for any of this, said Prometheus. Ask me anything at all, and I'll answer you by consulting the cosmic computer. How do you make fire? Asked Prometheus. With that, Oorim woke up from his dream, feeling wet all over, which was understandable, as someone was peeing on him. Eliza and Oorim jumped up, and before them stood a disgusting, hairy old man. He was hairy from his feet to his head and smelt really bad. He took a swing at Oorim with a large club, which fortunately missed him and got wedged in a nearby tree. Run! Shouted Oorim, grabbing Eliza by the hand and running out of the cave. The hairy old man uttered unintelligible abuse while swinging his club as they sped away down into the valley. Down in the valley they came upon more hairy-looking inhabitants and herds of wild goats. Then they came upon a village of dwellings made of rocks, with roofs covered with tree branches and thatched with padded straw. Remembering his dream, Oorim knew what he had to do. We've got to show these people how to make fire, said Oorim. Are you sure you want to do that? They might be better off without it. Look at all the things fire can destroy. Think about what happened after the Big Bang. It brought about a singular exothermic event releasing a gargantuan amount of energy in the form of heat and light that initiated the chaos. What's so bad about that? Didn't you say it was all a big mistake? And after that, all the other mistakes kept multiplying exponentially? Sure, but that was then and this is now. That's your trouble, said Eliza. You're always trying to change things. Not necessary for the better either. Let's face it, you get bored. And when you get bored, bad things happen. Take the Great Zigguat, for example. Now everybody speaks a different language. If you had let well alone, we wouldn't be here freezing our buns off. I would have been worshipped as Queen of the Night. It was then that Oorim fell into deep thought, pondering with a blank expression on his face. Then he suddenly brightened up and said, Friction, that's what we need. What causes you to lose your temper is friction. Therefore, to heat something up so it bursts into fire, we need friction. At that moment, a very synchronistic cosmic event occurred. Lightning struck a tree, and it burst into flames. Whether sent by one of the Titans, they didn't know or care. All they knew was the All was speaking to them again. Marvelous. All we have to do is contain it. said Oorim. And keep it going. Oorim and Eliza busily collected wood and anything that would burn. The blaze then began to attract attention. Before long, there was a crowd of hairy onlookers warming themselves by the fire. Then there was drumming and dancing, and people roasting vegetables skewered with sticks. This proved to be a party favorite. The vegetables made a hissing sound while they were being cooked, and with all the bobbing up and down, they named it shish kebab. This was also the name given to the dance first choreographed on that very day, which eventually was renamed Shaboom, whereupon dancers would bump the side of their hips together and sing Shaboom, Shaboom, da 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 da. The da 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 being an onomatopoeia simulating the sound of crackling fire as they danced. After the party, Oorim and Eliza tried to instruct the people what they needed to keep the fire going. They picked up charred sticks and blew on them, demonstrating how the fire could be ignited again. It was in this attempt to communicate with the people that Oorim and Eliza finally realized that they were speaking a derivation of gibberish, which was not very difficult from their own version of gobbledygook. One of the hairy men introduced Eliza and Oorim to their head clansman. He was less hairy than the others and didn't smell quite so bad. His name was Perseus. When Perseus asked who Oorim and Eliza were and where they had come from and what their name of their tribe was, Oorim said, "We don't have a tribe. We're just a couple of geeks." Whereupon Perseus said, "From this time forward, your tribe will be called geeks, which from the point of view of recorded history and etymology has strange and wonderful derivations." Perseus informed them that he too had no tribe, how he came from the sea, having been placed in a box with his mother, that his father was Zeus and his mother had conceived him via a shower of golden light. When he was rescued, it was not only he who had been rescued, but hope had been rescued as well. He also related the story concerning Pandora and her box. As it happened, when Pandora opened the box and all the nasty things of the universe came flying out, the only thing left inside was a tear that could not be mended. Trying desperately to mend the tear, but to no avail, caused Pandora to cry. And she cried and cried until she had only one tear left. It was this tear that initiated the hope that when things were at their lowest, things could only get better. This story was very revealing to Eliza and Oorim because it was hope that might be the ingredient to transform the big mistake into something absolutely new. What that new thing was, they didn't exactly know. "There is someone else who knows about the mysteries," said Perseus. "And who might that be?" said Oorim, feeling his territory being invaded. "The virgin priestess Pythia at the temple of Apollo," said Perseus. "She sits at the center of the cosmos at Delphi, where Python, the great fiery snake, defends the stone Omphalos, the navel of all that is, was, and will be." The word Omphalos was derived from the Aryan language, or rather the Proto-Indo-Aryan word Om, the cosmic vibration, the sound that holds together the all, and phallus, the male sexual organ that impregnates the entire cosmos with fiery spermatozoa. From this, it can be construed that omphalos refers to the demiurge creating the cosmos by meditating on the cosmic navel. In actuality, there is the very same source as the foundational word Oorim. With this chunk of intriguing information, it was decided they should go to Delphi to consult the virgin priestess of Apollo, or as Oorim said, let's check out this chick. The following is what an addendum of the annals of time regarding the role of Oorim Toomim and Eliza Jezelle. Before Oorim and Eliza arrived at Mount Olympus, the Titans had been very busy. Their intermingling with humans due to quaffing large quantities of fermented passion fruit juice had spawned a new race of heroes. Perseus was one of these, half-divine, godlike people, but was still limited by human weaknesses. Whether these heroes were up to the task they were given is another question. They acted as if they were immortal, but still had mortal bodies. And this fact, which they did not really appreciate, did not deter them from rash actions. And it didn't help that the oracle at Delphi prophesied and added impetus to catastrophic manifestations that were responsible for all kinds of mental aberrations and psychotic episodes. When the common people were plagued with misfortune, it was the job of the hero to save them from their plight. Whether or not they were pawns in the hands of the Titans is another matter. Nevertheless, it was also Oorim and Eliza's responsibility, coming from a higher order, to assist them in this otherwise relentless and unforgiving environment, and more importantly, to correct commonly held myths with what actually took place recorded in the annals of time.